Hey, Jenny Bradley with Triangle Smart Divorce in Cary, North Carolina. And a question we get asked a lot is, how can I make my spouse pay my attorney's fees? Well, the quick answer to that is you can't make anybody do anything. But if you mean, how can I get the court to order them to pay attorney's fees, then I do have a few answers for that. In situations with child custody, alimony, and child support, the basic rule is if you need money from the other side to meet them on equal footing in court, then you may be entitled to get your attorney's fees paid. And what does equal footing mean? It basically means you're the dependent spouse, you're relying upon them for money, they have greater assets than you, they have greater income than you, and you need to even the playing field so that you too can afford a lawyer and you can have someone represent you zealously in your fight for custody or child support or alimony or all three. Now, if you already have orders in place, you can also possibly get attorney's fees if the other side is not complying with those orders. Statutes allow for that in North Carolina as well. So what does that look like? Well, it's the same analysis. A judge determines whether or not the fees that you're seeking are reasonable. And how do they do that? They think about the time that was needed, the skill that your lawyer has, the reasonable rate in the community of other lawyers with roughly the same skill set and experience and credentials that your lawyer has. And they decide whether or not there's a reasonable amount of attorney's fees. But sometimes they can also look at your behavior and they can say, like, do I think that this person made it more difficult for them to be able to comply with the custody order? And in those cases, they may not award fees at all. And if you have a separation agreement, it's also possible for the judge to award attorney's fees if someone doesn't do what they're supposed to do, and there's an attorney fee provision in your separation agreement and property settlement. If your separation agreement is silent on attorney's fees, you can't get attorney's fees for any violation of a separation agreement. So what haven't I mentioned in North Carolina that's related to family law and divorce? I haven't mentioned a divorce itself, and I haven't mentioned equitable distribution. So with equitable distribution, you cannot get attorney's fees. The only way you can is sort of loosely related, which is if someone's obstructing the process, if they're not showing up at the scheduling hearings, if they're not showing up with their documents when they've been subpoenaed to do so, if they aren't giving you the documents that they're required to, if they're obstructing the process, slowing it down, and generally just trying to do everything they can to stop you from getting your fair share of the marital estate, then you might be able to get them to pay some of your attorney's fees from the court. I also didn't mention divorce. There is no statutory provision that allows the court to make the other person pay for the divorce. The remedy there is simple. Just have the other side divorce you. If you want them to pay for it, then they need to do that. Or they need to give you money to help you pay the lawyer to get the divorce, but the court can't order it to happen. So what if you're not in court? What if you don't have any court orders? What if you don't want to be in court? What if you're settling before you go see a judge? Can the other side pay your attorney's fees then? And the answer is sure, but they have to agree to. So that can be a settlement point in negotiation. It can be something that you talk about. But again, remember, they have to agree to. So just because you want it doesn't mean that they will, but you can always ask. So the last thing I'll say about attorney's fees in any of these claims, child support or alimony or custody or somebody obstructing the process, is that don't count on it. Don't bank on it. Don't think that you're necessarily going to get them. Because just because a judge has the right to order them doesn't mean that they will. And just because they have the right to order them doesn't mean that you'll get all of your attorney's fees. Like I said, the judge gets to decide what they feel is reasonable that day based upon their opinion. So that's one thing. Don't bank on it. And the other one is, even if you get awarded attorney's fees, don't assume the other side's going to pay them. If they've been acting in such disregard of the order that they haven't been paying you support, they haven't been paying your alimony, or they've been withholding the kids from you, maybe they're also not going to follow this court order that says they're supposed to pay you attorney's fees. Does that mean you don't ever get them? No, but guess what? You get to spend more attorney's fees chasing the attorney's fees that you were ordered, and that may not make sense to you. So don't bank on it, don't count on it, and don't assume that your fees are going to be covered. Come up with another plan.